Who cares? Hi. I didn't mean to add a little. Well, it's good to be back. And,
where have we been? It's been like a week.
I told you when I texted you. I said I'm traveling through the depths of hell. Remember? I said I'm going through the depths of hell.
How was that journey?
But I'm back with new flannel.
You're back?
Yep.
You know you're not. This is hell, sweetie. Don't be fooled.
Brought to
You're
you
just
by.
on a different level.
We are brought to you by Snickers.
Don't fucking touch my only piece of candy.
So how have you been? Let everybody know.
Life is weird and unpredictable. And that's why we're talking about something weird and unpredictable today.
Yep. We are
Murder.
back. Never done that one before.
No.
So we are back from another unexpected hiatus. Our last one.
It's been like 2 weeks.
Has it?
Yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Oh, okay.
Because we recorded the one about the other house.
Yes, we recently, the last episode that all of you better have watched was the, it's sad that I already forgot the name of it. Winchester House. There we go.
So we have one tomorrow, and then
Yep.
we'll have that one. So
Yep.
all right, we're good. We're good.
So
They'll never know.
you'll never. I mean, it's been a couple weeks since we've uploaded an episode, but
Do they care? Do you care? Tell us.
yeah, hopefully not, because we don't either. No, I'm kidding. We do. It's been bothering me all week. So anyway, today
It's
are
only Tuesday.
Yeah, feels like Friday.
I wish.
So we are going to do a case that I had never heard of prior to you suggesting it a couple of weeks ago. H Holmes.
Ooh.
And I thought at first it was I was like, oh wait, isn't that the guy that wrote Sherlock Holmes? Then I was like, no, that was Arthur Conan Doyle. Is that right?
I don't know.
Now I'm bothered by it. Let's look it up. The guy that Gillette's Castle, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sherlock Holmes author. I'm gonna be really embarrassed. Arthur Conan Doyle. Okay, I was right. That would have been embarrassing if I wasn't. So, anyway, I was like, oh, maybe that's the guy that. No, he was not a good man.
This one. No, he wasn't very nice.
No, he did contribute a lot to modern medicine. I'm kidding, he didn't. But I think he thought he was.
Well, actually, he was very nice to people that he wanted to murder. That's how he lured them in. He just wasn't nice after.
No.
That's how it goes.
So, for those of you who don't know who H Holmes is, he was one of the... would it be fair to say he was one of the earliest serial killers out there? Unless
so.
serial killers started before. I mean, he was 1800s, so...
Yeah.
I don't know how many serial killers there were prior to him, but he was around in the 1800s. He was born on May 16th, 1861, which is very scarily close to my birthday. It's actually in between our birthdays, so maybe
What does
we
that
are.
mean?
That means I'm the first H, you're the second H. Holmes. We are H Holmes.
Surprise!
So he was born in New Hampshire, great state.
It is pretty nice.
It is. Probably my favorite in the Northeast. That's not true. His parents were both descendants of English settlers, and he was the middle child. Need I say more? He had an older brother and an older sister and a younger brother and a younger sister.
That's a lot.
I know. That's back in that day. That's too many to deal with.
No wonder you lost.
You don't have anything to distract you from all that craziness.
God.
So, for those of you asking by this point, what does H Holmes stand for? Well, we're not going to tell you. Not yet, anyway. Not yet.
Guess.
You have to guess. Best guess wins a Snickers.
Stop trying to touch my Snickers.
It's your own damn fault.
This is the only candy I have.
You know what? We'll give them that Snickers, and then you can go get a Snickers Blizzard at the Dairy Queen.
Not a bad idea.
Good trade. So, he was born with a name that I wish I had been born with. Herman Webster Midget. Mudget. Herman Webster Mudget.
That's not a good serial killer name.
No, none of it is. Maybe the Webster might be a little cool, but Herman,
No.
that reminds me of an old person.
Nope.
Webster is kind of cool because that kind of makes you sound smart, like the Webster Dictionary. Noah Webster, who actually lived in West Hartford. I don't know if you knew that.
Wow.
The library is dedicated to him. Noah Webster created the dictionary.
Was it even written by then, at this point? Do you know when the dictionary was written?
I would think so. I think it's older than 1861. Maybe around that time. Let's just say it was around that time. She'll look it up as I... But Mudget sounds like the name of... I don't know. What would you... A Mudget?
1828?
That sounds like something dirty you would do in the mud. A Mudget. So, I'm interested to see. Okay, so he did come before Mudget's time. H Holmes' time.
Oh no, 1806? I don't know. This is off topic.
So, his family were farmers, traders, and they painted houses. Really? I mean, wow. I envy him. Getting brought up with two younger siblings, and he got to watch them farm, do trade, and paint houses. He really had a riveting life.
It really worked out well for him.
Yep. He needed something a little more entertaining. And damn, he got it.
What?
So they were I meant to write they were devout Christians, but I wrote devour by accident. They would devour Christians.
Well.
They were Methodists. And by all accounts, he lived a very normal childhood. That being said, there is a lot to H Holmes' life that can be contradicted. As you are about to see, he liked to spin the truth quite a lot. He was not an honest man, and it almost kind of amused him to throw people off with his lies. So, a lot of this Same?
What?
Did you say same?
No. No. Not right.
I don't know. Maybe, a bunch of the stuff you told me about yourself is not true. I'll come to find out.
I don't know.
So, by all accounts, he lived a normal childhood. However, according to other sources, he was beaten by his father and molested by a priest. So, we don't know what the truth to that is, and we will never know. But, just giving you the two different tales here.
Mm-hmm.
He graduated high school, and he started working as a teacher. He married Clara Laverne in 1878, and he had a son. He's trying to get our attention away from H Holmes. Maybe his spirit is in the room.
What the heck are you doing?
All right, let's continue.
So he had a son named Robert, who would later become an accountant and a city manager in Orlando.
Wow.
And he would be he opened Disney World.
Hold up.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
He was just a city manager in Orlando.
No.
He got into an apprenticeship in human dissection.
Who? This?
H Holmes.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and that led to him.
That sounds right.
That led to him going into college. He went to the University of Vermont, because that's in Burlington. I don't know. It's Burlington, Vermont. That's around the area he went to college. He did not stay enrolled in college for very long. It was not for him.
No, he just wanted to learn how to dissect people, and that was it. They
probably weren't letting him. Probably like, you've got to...
It's like, what do you mean I have to use fake people?
So he left there, but then he went to the University of Michigan for medicine and surgery.
Wow.
He worked in an anatomy lab, graduated in 1884, and worked with cadavers.
See? He gets some bodies.
He knew what he was doing.
They're still not alive though, so.
Yep. He knew what he was doing. This allowed him to learn how to defraud insurance companies.
I love that. That's a good vibe.
Yep. Clara did not like this very much.
Clara seems like she needs a little more excitement in her life.
Well, if she had stuck around, she would have been, she would have been able to see the murder. She probably would have been one of the victims, but she said no, and she left him and moved back to New Hampshire. Probably a good decision. They never saw each other again.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And not only that, but they never
Blocked his ass.
Yep.
That's how it should be.
She took. I would assume she took the son because he ended up being a city manager in Orlando. So
He ended up being a regular person.
So they left back to New Hampshire. They never actually got divorced. Fun fact. Never actually got divorced. The housemates did claim that he was violent towards her. Again, are we really surprised about this? He moved to New York City, and when he moved to New York, people spotted him with a young boy who was not his son. A claim that he never denied.
He's like, yeah, maybe.
The boy went missing, and after that, he said he went back with his parents in Massachusetts. Why the boy was in New York to begin with?
Returned him.
Yeah, why the boy was in New York
Big
to
deal.
begin with. I don't know. Immediately after they started questioning him, he fled to Philadelphia, where he worked at a hospital, a drugstore.
Why are people letting him handle other people's lives still?
They don't know him at this point. They're saying he
It was
probably,
like so easy to get away with anything back then.
I mean, he was also like a good liar, as we're about to find out. So he probably smooth talked his way in.
Fair.
He was working at a drugstore, and he actually sold drugs to a little boy who died from taking them. So naturally, he got promoted to Employee of the Month. No, actually, he was fired. And
That's it.
Yep.
They're just like, you just can't work here anymore.
And at this point, he changed his name too to Dr. Henry Howard Holmes.
Okay.
He completely changed his name.
Was that the big reveal
of the whole case?
of the name change?
Yeah. When
Should have made it more dramatic. First, you're like, we're never going to tell you.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And you just slide it in there.
Now you know, so don't bother us.
So what is it?
Dr. Henry Howard Holmes.
So
H Holmes.
you just want it to sound generic, like just generic enough.
I wonder if he graduated from the University of Michigan. And if the title of doctor was legitimate, or if he just called himself a doctor.
I doubt it.
You don't
I'm
think so?
gonna say that he probably, if he just changed his whole name, I'm sure he just threw the doctor right on there.
Probably.
Considering he already murdered a child by working at a drugstore, I'm going to guess that he was not allowed to be a doctor. But who knows?
You know what that
I don't know.
You know what that reminds
I
me
don't
of?
know.
We used to work with two people who would call themselves a doctor and a lawyer. Were they actually? No.
No, they weren't.
No, I'm pretty sure that I don't know. The doctor probably was. I don't think the lawyer.
Unconfirmed.
We
saw no proof.
So he met a man named Robert Leacock, who he was going around telling people he murdered for insurance money. Just openly going around telling people this.
This random guy?
He went to school with him.
Okay.
Robert Leacock. However, and this is why nothing really happened to him in the beginning, Robert Leacock was not dead. He was just he was saying I killed him, but the man was very much alive.
He was saying that he killed the dude from school.
Yep. He was saying I killed Robert Leacock, my college classmate, for insurance money. Yet Robert Leacock was still alive. He was not dead.
Okay.
That's the first time I've ever heard of that. Somebody saying I killed somebody, but they're
Maybe
very
we're just
much...
testing it out, seeing how people would react. Like, are they going to get
That's
mad?
that's a good idea.
Are they not going to care?
I think once they determined he was alive, they probably should have taken him in to mental custody. Because that's just
But
not
I'm
normal.
assuming they did not.
They did not, no. Because people in the 1800s, once you proved something, the investigation was done. They didn't really like to jump through too many hoops, I feel like.
No, that's
I mean, neither do people today, but
Takes
people
too
are
much
lazy
time.
today. So then he married Murda
Murder.
Elkner. I was the documentary I listened to. The man talked so damn fast. I couldn't understand half the names he was saying, so they might not even be accurate. That too. So I don't even know if her name was Murda Elk. I know I got all the first names right, but last names you've got to bear with me because he was just like, yeah, you don't really need to know. He was still married, like I said. He filed for divorce, but it never went through.
Okay.
They had a daughter named Lucy who would go on to become a school teacher. All his children are going on to have normal careers.
That's because they don't know that their father's crazy.
Well, they might if they're watching now. Yeah, I don't think they are living. They were
No?
born in the 1800s.
1800s?
Yeah. Only one person from the 1800s is still alive.
Who?
Someone in China. Or Japan. I forget which one. Mm-hmm. So, she also left him. Again, good on Murda.
Mm-hmm.
So the first two wives were survivors. In 1890,
Always got to walk away from that toxic energy. You never know.
they knew, like something's not normal. They probably left when they found out that the last name they married into was actually Mudgett. That was probably like that was the big red flag. So he married another woman named Georgina York, still being married to the first two. This man has never been divorced, by the way. So now he had three wives in the eyes of the law. In 1886, he returned to Chicago. Or should I say he moved to Chicago?
Yeah, it was when he first moved there.
Yeah. So he discovered a drugstore owned by a woman named Elizabeth Holton. He eventually bought the store from them.
Where did he get the money from?
Oh, he didn't have the money. He just convinced her. He was a very good convincer. He was like, yeah, you should sell me your store.
Yeah.
Probably for little to no money.
I mean, maybe he potentially threatened to murder her.
Well,
in exchange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's another fun example of his fabrications.
Mm-hmm.
People were convinced that he murdered her and her husband, and he was not again disputing this.
Oh,
Again,
fun.
they were not dead. They died of old age, not from murder.
Okay.
And they didn't die. While all this was going on, people saying, oh, he murdered them, they were very much alive. So, again, I wonder what would happen.
He just wanted to spread his own murder rumors?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
I know. He's sick.
Well, I think maybe he just wanted people to start to think that he was a murderer, so then, like, by the time he actually did it, they'd be like, oh, no, he keeps lying
it's
about
like the boy
it.
who cries wolf.
Right,
Yeah.
it can't be true.
Yeah.
It's pretty
It
clever.
didn't work.
No,
It didn't work.
It didn't work. But that is...
Spoiler alert, it didn't
That is
work.
one tactic to try.
Yeah.
I'm going to test that out.
So, I know, maybe we should start a live. I say I murdered you, and then you just pop up behind me and go, my ghost is already back.
I'm here for my Snickers.
He began construction on a 2-story building that was across the street that captured his eye. So now he's got this drugstore and the building across the street.
Okay.
And his great idea was to build another drugstore and a hotel. Because they work so well together.
Yeah.
You pick up your drugs, then you stay for the night. 2 years later, he had been, all this was going down. He was not paying his architects. So they started suing him. And he had already started building a 3rd story. And I guess this was supposed to be the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
and it was never completed for obvious reasons. He had been hiding the materials of the furniture supplier in the rooms of his hotel, which the guy came, did his own investigation, found out, and told everybody. So then investors started pulling out. The third floor then caught fire mysteriously, and he had taken out an insurance policy beforehand.
Nice.
Yep. Employees and residents were present and kind of were suspicious that
During
he
the
might
fire?
have been involved. Yep.
Oh,
They all survived.
that's
Unfortunately-
wow, surprising.
Unfortunately for H Holmes, I'm sure he didn't want, he was expecting a different result.
For someone trying to become a murderer, he hasn't murdered anyone yet. This seems to just be a lot of talk. Like,
No, like you said, he's testing the waters.
like how he wants to see how many things he can like fake and get away with.
All of the insurance companies started suing him.
What the
HH,
hell?
is that you?
What's wrong, baby?
Well, then now we get into the part where he starts killing people. Julia Smythe was the first
Dun, dun, dun.
that we don't know if he actually killed these people, by the way, because none of their
Lied about
bodies,
everything.
a couple of their bodies were found, but nobody else really. Julia Smythe, who was married to a resident and an employee named Alex Connor. They had a child together. She started sleeping with him, H Holmes. And Alex Connor found out and left.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bye.
He left his wife and his daughter behind. I don't know
Good
why he didn't
luck.
take the daughter.
Well, maybe he didn't like her. Just get rid of both of them. It's
Well.
easy. Bye.
No, that's how H Holmes felt.
Exactly. Get rid of. Bye.
They continued their relationship, but things went awry as her and her daughter went missing on Christmas Day, 1891.
Dang, he was really bored on Christmas like that.
I know. Well, back then they didn't have presents.
So he was like,
No, they probably did.
I'm gonna give myself a gift.
Oh, God. I could just see him, wrapping himself, as a present, putting himself underneath the tree, leaving a note for Julia. There's a present for you. They unwrap it. He just slaughters them. Oh, as they unwrap the present.
That'd be an interesting horror movie scene.
Yeah. Are there any movies on it? Were you about to ask that?
There is a really messed up murder horror Christmas movie that I watched.
Oh. What was it about?
It was about murder.
I feel like I have also seen A Christmas one. I wonder if it's the same. We'll have to compare afterwards.
Was it Krampus?
It might have been. He told people Julia Smythe died during a failed abortion.
Better watch out. Better watch out. You better watch out.
Someone's excited for Christmas.
I just didn't know
Maybe-
there was such
maybe you'll get
a
murdered
genre
this.
for Christmas horror films.
They should make one with
I don't even like horror films.
HH.
I just think
What do you mean?
I think the idea of a Christmas horror film. I don't like horror films.
Oh, you mean like you get scared by them?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought you meant like you don't enjoy the genre.
I
Like, you
don't.
get entertained by it.
I don't like horror movies.
You don't get entertained by them?
No,
Oh.
no.
I'm surprised that we're doing this podcast.
It's
This is kind of like a
this
horror
is
movie.
different. No, like horror. Like I don't like. Like horror movies like this. It's just like gory. Like
Oh.
usually like the plot is awful. Like I like thriller and suspenseful.
Oh, okay.
Like stuff like that. But if it's just like pure horror, it's like
You don't like slasher.
no.
Oh. You have to have a stomach for it.
It's just
H Holmes
It's
did.
usually just not good.
H Holmes did. He would have been a great
And
horror
then,
director.
I can't. I mean, I watched like any of those like the Saw movies or like
Okay, yeah, Saw is
like
ridiculous.
stuff like horror movies.
Those are
like that.
ridiculous. I like the Friday the 13th, but because the deaths are creative. And you know who else had creative deaths? H Holmes.
All right, we're back into it. Let's go.
So he told people Julia Smythe died during a failed abortion.
Yep.
Nobody knows what actually happened, but they do know that they were both killed by him somehow.
Somehow.
I don't know how we could believe anything. Next was Emily Insecrum. I think that's how you
What'd
pronounce her
she
last name.
do?
She began working and sleeping with Holmes.
These
Again.
chicks, like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. In 1992, she disappeared after 6 months of being there. The same happened
That's
at...
why you can't trust anyone.
That's your... You should have that on
Gotta
a
see
t-shirt.
those red flags.
You should put that on a t-shirt.
That's gonna be our new merchandise. What happened to our old merchandise?
It never came out.
Well, our new merchandise
We're going to discuss that during our business meeting
is going to be me saying, "Don't trust anyone."
And then there's going to be
It's gonna be the visual.
a character behind you, Jason.
Exactly.
Will it be Bigfoot or Slenderman or H Holmes?
Oh
We
my
don't know.
god! I wish I had saved it on my Instagram. And maybe I could find it. Oh my gosh, it was a Slender Man thing, and I wanted to send it, but then like Instagram, like if you like click back, it'll like disappear.
Mm-hmm. While she's looking for that, the same thing happened to Edna Von Tassel, who sounds like she is a character from The Sound of Music, who disappeared without a trace. He started working at a chemical bank building where he met Benjamin Pietzel, who was a carpenter, and they became friends. He was also a criminal. So they conspired to commit many crimes between them. Oh my lord. And then there's someone behind him? That should be you.
That was me.
Oh, wow. I didn't know you were another. You're a YouTube celebrity aside from on this podcast. We should get you a Slenderman costume for
Oh my god,
Halloween.
please.
For this upcoming Halloween. Only 6
absolutely
months away. Halloween.
Wow.
That's scary to think about. The next Halloween is only
Okay,
6 months away.
Everyone relax. It's half of a year.
Are you telling me to relax? That's all right. Hopefully the summer takes its time. So he met Minnie Williams, who was an actress.
Wait, what happened
A
to the
dancer.
second chick?
You mean Edna Von Tassel?
What? Who?
Edna Von
Who?
Tassel? Or Emily Insecrum?
That one.
She went missing.
Oh, she.
So did Edna Von
one.
Tassel.
Oh god.
Yeah. Now we're on to Minnie Williams, an actress and dancer who became his fourth wife.
Why are women dating this guy?
Their word must be spreading, like that he's an interesting man.
He's interesting.
Maybe she wanted to take her chances. I don't know.
But no one's mentioning that everyone else that he's ever dated disappears.
Probably because they don't realize.
Like, oh, dude, that interesting guy.
Anybody who questions him gets
Drugs.
thrown down the chute into the basement, which I will get into.
Okay.
Minnie Williams was an actress. She got a job as a stenographer at the hotel. She, somehow, sorry, I'm about to go on. Somehow, he convinced her to sign over the deed to her property in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And him and, when he got that deed, he kind of was like, oh, sign this over to my friend Alexander Bond, who is Holmes. That was another alias of his. And then he signed it over to Benton Lyman, who is the alias of his friend Benjamin Pietzel, who he was the carpenter that he started committing crimes with.
Okay.
She invited her sister Nanny over to stay. And at this point, the aunt of both of these girls gets a letter in the mail saying that they decided to travel overseas for a tour. They were never seen again.
Surprise.
Mm-hmm. So all these bodies are going missing. He's killing all these people. And most of them people believed were skinned, their skeletons were sold, or they were not incarcerated, incinerated, or were eroded by acid. So
Those are all fun options.
yeah. If you had to go, which one of those, what would you pick?
Any of those occurring while I'm still alive or like after?
Yeah. I think I would want my skeleton to be sold.
Well, obviously that wouldn't happen while you're still alive.
I know. I just don't want to pick any of the other three.
That does. I mean, if he was involved in like medical stuff, that might make sense. If he was like selling
I don't know. Maybe.
skeletons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just an idea.
So, insurance companies at this point start going after him for arson. And they, at this point, go to Texas because they have Minnie's property,
Mm-hmm.
where he started making another hotel, castle, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
He conned suppliers and got arrested for selling goods that weren't his.
He's getting arrested for like boring stuff.
I know.
Like,
We'll wait until they catch him for his real stuff. In jail, he befriended a convicted outlaw named Marion Hedgepath. He was a man, despite the name being Marion. He cooked a plan to steal money from an insurance company. He was going to fake his own death after taking out a $10,000 life insurance policy. How
Okay.
original. Hedgepath was going to give him the name of a trusted lawyer, and then for that, he was going to give him a whopping $500 for his help.
better than nothing.
Better than nothing is right. Unfortunately, the St. Louis lawyer was not a very good one. Insurance companies became suspicious and did not pay anything out.
Dang.
So this is where the story gets really fun.
Uh-oh.
He then cooked up a plan with his friend Benjamin Pitzel, who he was dealing with this Texas property with under the fake names.
Yeah.
He said, why don't you fake your death? Like, they wanted to basically retry the plan back in Chicago.
Okay. Why not?
Yeah, right?
Why not?
So why don't you fake your death? And then he had access to all these cadavers. They were going to use a cadaver and say, like, pretend it
How
was Benjamin.
convenient.
Mm-hmm. Well, plot twist, he betrayed his friend and actually killed him.
Oops.
With chloroform.
Oops.
Oopsie. And then he set him ablaze. So...
Oh, you had to get rid of the evidence.
Mm-hmm. He wanted it to look like a suicide.
Which is ironic, since he wanted the credit for everyone else that he didn't kill. He doesn't want the credit for the one person he does kill.
Right. He convinced his widow, after this, Pitzel's widow, who had many children, to let 3 of them stay in his custody. She obliged. And then she moved away. Because he said her
She
husband was
just-
alive and in London, so
Wait,
she moved to
she
London.
ditched her kids.
3 of them.
She's
Just a select
she's like,
3.
I don't need you 3.
The least important.
Wow.
2 daughters and a son, I believe. Or it might have been 3 girls. I know there were 2 girls for sure.
Jeez.
He convinced the widow he was alive and in London, so she went chasing after him. He was not alive and in London.
Oh. Well.
So then he took the 3 girls to Canada. He stuffed 2 of them in a box and chopped their feet off. So they wouldn't be identified. They were still identified.
Like while they were still alive?
I think he might have chopped the feet off after they had died. And then a detective named Frank Gale, who was on his trail, found them. The 3rd child...
But, like, why the feet? Because it's, like, your fingerprints that identify, you know?
I don't think H Holmes was as smart as we thought maybe going in. He was.
Okay. I just, I'm just using logic here.
So, actually, I lied. It wasn't in Canada yet. It was in... Well, actually, then he went to Indianapolis. So, we're in Canada, now we're in Indianapolis.
Okay.
He rented out a cottage, which is where they found the bones and teeth of the 3rd child.
Oh.
He then got arrested in Boston in 1894. He was going all over the place. He was tracked down by the Pinkertons.
Who are they?
The Pinkerton guards.
Okay.
We'll discuss after.
That's fine.
Because I'm not really sure.
Okay.
He was held on a warrant for horse theft.
Doesn't matter anything else that he's done thus far. Gotcha.
I don't know why I'm picturing this, but like with everything, like I'm picturing him, like in this example, I'm picturing him just like sitting on a horse, smiling, waving, and then for some reason I pictured you sitting on a horse, smiling, as people are arresting you.
I'd never get on a horse. They're evil.
Oh, We gotta make we have to make more of those pictures with you. Just mimicking the actions of H Holmes. Like you, betraying me and
Listen, I'll work on that tomorrow.
I'll work on some too. I have Canva now.
I have Canva.
We both have Canva.
You pay for yours?
Yeah.
We don't need to both be paying for this.
I thought you didn't remember your login.
I never said that.
You did!
Okay, well, I can reset it.
Oh, okay. You said let me remember my login first.
Yeah,
All
right.
right.
I only use 3 passwords for everything.
Oh.
Don't tell me.
That's alright, I do too. And you know one of them.
I know all of them.
You only know 2 of them.
Yeah, you just went from 1 to 2.
Oh Lord! By 1895, he was standing trial. At this point,
For the horse theft.
Well, that's what they were able to hold him on. But at this point, they knew he was a killer.
But they got him on horse theft.
Yes.
And they really...
Yes.
This is just getting wild.
So they claimed they found torture equipment, but that was never proven. He was sentenced to death in October 1895.
But on what?
On killing his partner and the kids.
Oh, they
discovered that.
Okay.
Yep.
But you just took a huge leap. Where'd this evidence come from?
I don't know. The documentary.
Horse jumping over an obstacle there.
I'm the horse. Plot twist. In my past life, I was the horse that helped the Pinkerton guards.
No.
And you were the H Holmes. Maybe it should just be my face should be on the horse, and you should be riding. The documentary took those kinds of leaps, though, too. I must say, it was not.
I know.
It's an interesting case, but the documentary did not do it justice.
There's other stuff.
It's better.
That's good that you should watch.
Hell, the Wikipedia page was better. He confessed to 27 murders.
That's it.
But listen to this.
Just 27.
That number is heavily disputed because they do think that he did a lot more, but the number 27, some of those 27 were still alive.
He's still lying.
Some of them didn't even know who he was.
I love that he's still lying about people he hasn't murdered while he's murdering people.
Yeah.
What is going on in his head?
It very much
are those people that he wants to murder? So he's just convincing
some of them
the world?
they had never met him. They were like, what?
They were like, who killed me?
But honestly, I think so. And that's what really intrigues me about this guy more than anything, is that he was kind of foreshadowing. And I think he was doing all this to throw them off. Yeah. I also think he was just very deranged.
Well, yeah, because if you say that you killed someone and they're not dead, then
it throws them off on a trail.
People that are.
It's a false trail for the police officers. A false trail, saying oh, I murdered her. They go check on her. She's
who?
She's eating Snickers in a room. Now I'm just picturing him saying I killed Michelle. They come over.
I'm like, yeah.
Not yet.
My horse just.
You close the door, Jenna kills you. I've just given her a new fear.
Maybe
Lord.
my dogs will save me.
Oh, Lord. No, she would have already convinced them you were in London. They would have gone overseas.
If you ever get a letter about me.
Anyway. Yeah, so the Hearst newspaper was paying him a lot of money for his confession, so that's why he kept saying I killed this one and that one.
Oh, so he was making money off of this as well.
Yep. It became entertaining for him to spin the story.
What happened to the horse?
It could still be alive. Those damn things live 100+ years.
The horse is the murderer.
Can't they? Wait, can't horses live really long?
No.
No? I thought horses could live up past 100 years. That freaking thing could still be telling people H Holmes wrote on me.
25 to 30 years.
Oh.
However, in rare cases, domestic horses have lived into their 50s.
Okay, well that's.
So you're just wrong on every level.
Well, all right. Well, turtles can live into.
Do you want to know every other animal? Because it's all on here.
Turtles can live very long. Can't they live like
Camels
200
live
years?
40 years.
So, he always spun his tales. He told his life story, but constantly would contradict himself to throw people off. And honestly, I think he kind of wanted to throw himself off too. I think he liked puzzles. He should have learned to be
Well, that's why he created his own
House of
escape
Horrors,
room, which was called the Murder Castle.
Which
is why I thought of it when we were doing our last episode, because it was the same concept, like trap doors, hidden,
I have a list of
torture
everything
chambers, like
on the last page. Yeah, I have a list of. He had a lot of stuff. What?
I was like hidden torture chambers. He had actual torture chambers.
Oh God! Well, he probably made it look like the spa at first. That's probably what it means by hidden. Like,
and wasn't he made it so people would get lost in there and they couldn't get out, and then he would kill them.
Yeah.
That'd be a bummer. It's like you're trying to go to the bathroom, you get lost, and then all of a sudden you're in a torture chamber, and you're like, oh no, I just
you've got people or you've got people coming to your house telling them you're dead when you're not. Like, people think you're dead, and the newspapers are saying you're dead, but you're not.
He really created a lot of fun. That's a real adventure.
I know, he was a real one. He's an underrated one for sure.
I'm surprised more people don't know about him.
He said he was telling people while he was in prison that his facial features changed and that he resembled Satan. Sounds like what we used to say towards the end of the escape room run. I'm not an employee anymore. I'm a devil. He got hung on May 7th, 1896. That was, again, very... Why are all these significant dates? His birth and his death are so close to my birthday. I don't like it. But
can't trust anyone in May.
Maybe I am the reincarnation of him. Maybe that's why I like lying to people. No, I'm kidding. He was hung in Philadelphia County Prison.
Dang.
He showed no fear or depression.
Bummer to die.
And he seemed to be kind leading up to his death. He requested his coffin.
That's when he decided to be nice.
I mean, maybe he was excited to go to hell.
Gonna go hang with his homies.
I mean, he'd get to see us. We're there all the time.
This is true.
He was excited to see us.
Come visit.
Well, remember that one time at the escape room, that woman was laughing and her mouth opened really well. I have a video of it. That was him. That was him. Yeah, I'll show you after this.
Oh, I found some creepy pictures on my phone from these.
We'll have to post it on the Evil and Eerie page.
I found a couple things. I took a lot of pictures of that weird clown.
Before I broke it. By smashing it against the brick.
And I had a picture of Slappy, but I don't know where it went.
Oh, damn, I wish everything were still there. Yeah. We'll be back there one day. He requested his coffin be buried 10 feet underground with cement because he didn't want people to rob his grave.
That's fair.
So when they were hanging him, his neck actually didn't snap, which I didn't think was something you would go for when you're hanged. I feel like you just strangle somebody.
No.
Really? That
means they did it wrong.
So anyway, they had to physically strangle him. So it took 15 to 20 minutes extra for him to die, and he was twitching and moaning along the way.
I loved that.
And as they were doing it, they were like, "You want a Snickers?" Like in
the
those
horse
commercials.
just trotted out
Or those commercials with the Snickers. You want a Snickers? He eats it. You feel better. He's just convulsing even more. Yeah. Or he turns into the horse. Better. Or you. That.
The scenario.
That's you at work every day. Feel like you're being strangled, and then
I do keep Snickers around at all times.
So then after he died, a lot of odd stuff happened. The caretaker of the castle committed suicide because he was being haunted by hallucinations of H Holmes.
That makes sense.
I think so, honestly. Well, I mean, let me take that back because there's the next little conspiracy theory you're going to find interesting.
Okay.
Then the other guy who helped him find a lawyer, the one he met in jail, was shot and killed in 1909.
Okay.
The castle.
By the horse?
By you, actually.
Don't tell anyone.
You don't remember? The castle was almost burned to the ground, again, by two mysterious men. And now it's a post office. Today it's a post office. But another thing people weren't sure about is there were a lot of people who didn't believe he was actually dead.
Oh, that's fun.
And so rumors were rampant back in the day that they had failed to execute him. So much so, this has been going on for the last 100 and such years, that in 2017, they exhumed his body to make sure he was actually dead. 5 years ago, they exhumed his body.
We're like, ooh, we don't know.
Mm-hmm. Because of the cement, his mustache and clothes were still completely intact.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know. We should find a picture.
Ew.
Holmes hired and fired many people, so nobody really saw the full construction plan. There was a basement, and there were shops at street level, and there were 2 stories above it. There was a maze of hallways, soundproof rooms that locked from the inside, and gas pipes controlled by panels in his closets. There were peepholes and panels that led to passageways, trapdoors and chutes that led to the basement, and a human-sized oven that could heat up to 3,000 degrees.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. There were also, I had notes earlier. Oops, wrong page. Like I said, hidden passageways, trapdoors, spy holes, chutes, false doors. And the way he supposedly killed a lot of these people were on torture racks, by strangulation, or in gas chambers that he had built. Mm-hmm. So many people went missing after checking in, but he also sold their skeletons. So they were either sold as skeletons or they just weren't either, like I said, incinerated or eroded by acid.
Hotel California.
Mm-hmm. You can check in, but you can never leave. Just like Elisa Lam. Mm-hmm.
That was like one of our first episodes. Throwback.
Yep. Go
If
check
you
that one
haven't,
out. Go check that one out.
Actual death at a hotel. What was that hotel called?
Cecil.
The Cecil.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out.
So, this is my favorite part. Some people think that he is Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, I heard that.
And so, for those of you who don't know who Jack the Ripper is, and we should do an episode on him at some point.
That's a good idea.
He was in London around the 1880s. Nobody ever found out who Jack the Ripper was. People think there might have been more than one Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
But there was a string of prostitute murders. And they all kind of had the same manners of death. So, Holmes was a big traveler. He did at some point go to London. And his great-great-grandson actually recently came forward, Holmes, came forward with 2 diaries that he supposedly wrote, and they did in fact match his handwriting.
Crazy.
And in this diary, he said he staged his own death at the execution. But obviously that was
I
not,
mean, if he lied about all the people he murdered, he could just lie about his own death. Everyone could just lie about
which,
it.
if they hadn't exhumed the body, they could have maybe said was true. But
Oh.
when they exhumed it, they said no, he was definitely hung or strangled. But so they don't believe that he was Jack the Ripper, and
They're sure that was him.
we don't even know if they exhumed the body.
I'm just throwing that
We
out
don't even
there.
know. Maybe not. Maybe not.
I mean, if he was so good at convincing people of things, and like,
Yeah.
could have convinced them to put someone else and say that was him.
Could be. I think they matched dental records, though.
You can. We've learned from Brian Laundrie.
It could be a cover-up. I don't know. I mean, we got to remember this 5 years ago. By now, they're good at covering things up. But I don't know. I don't think he was Jack the Ripper. I don't know if Jack the Ripper was. I'd have to look into the case. Maybe he could be.
No.
He could be. You don't think so?
No.
Well, now they're saying, I don't know. We're just trying to find solutions for everything. Now they think they've solved the Zodiac murders.
No.
I don't think so either. I think one of their other suspects who's dead, did it. That's another one that's on the horizon. We've got to do the Zodiac. It's my favorite.
Ooh.
It's my favorite. But anyway, so that was H Holmes.
What
We're
an
going to make
adventure.
edits with Michelle and H Holmes and the horse. The three musketeers.
You know it.
Yep. And I'm just trying to envision you running around a house with trapdoors and all that. How would you trap people if you ran a house of horror like that?
I mean, that sounds pretty great.
The chutes and the trapdoors?
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
We should have practiced in the escape
I
room.
was about to say, just get some
Building
cameras. You just need like a button, get them in like the right place, right time.
Mm-hmm.
Have them solve a puzzle. If they do it wrong, bye.
I mean, even if they solve it right,
Bye.
you're not getting treated any better than the
I don't
losers.
know.
So anyway, this was a good one. This was a good call.
Thank you.
This was a good call.
It's interesting. It's
And
different.
we are going to sit down in conference tonight and really plan ahead for some fun new content, both in episodes and
Well, we
extras.
already have some ideas.
Sure.
We already have some ideas. I have some ideas.
Oh, okay. I'm excited to hear them. We're sounding corny now. It's time to log off.
Oh.
So, thank you for watching. Follow, subscribe, like. Our
Wow.
Instagram is at Evil and Eerie Podcast. Our
Evil
YouTube
and
page
Eerie
is
Podcast.
linked. Listen to us on YouTube. We need more watch hours, but we're also on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and
We're
Podbean.
gonna post every week, so just listen.
Yes, we are.
Thank you.